Afternoon everybody, my name is Dr. Andrew Taylor and I'm Head of Technical here at the ASFP, and on this occasion welcome back to Ask the Expert. Absolutely they will. One of the challenges here is that currently quite often what happens is buildings, we start construction and the wall goes up, and then the services are passed through the wall, and then the fire stopper comes along and is asked to fire stop and deliver that, and the process went wrong when the wall was selected, because we come across a lot of shaft wall details where there is no testing data and the standards at this moment in time don't reflect the use of that. Gateway 2 now will need the architect or the designer, and it may well be that the architect lets the design responsibility for that wall sit somewhere else in the contractual chain, but whoever's responsible will need to start with the end in mind. Think not just of the wall but also of the services and how you fire stop that where the services pass through an opening in the wall. Yes, if a building's function is changed and all of a sudden an office building is converted into residential, then and that becomes a high-risk residential building, then of course those designs and plans and that change of use and the whole thing will have to be assessed, much as if you were constructing a new building. And there's twofold challenge. So steps will need to be taken to bring because you've got the current building represents a risk. So steps will need to be taken in order to satisfy Health and Safety Executive as part of the ongoing safety case process that the risks in the existing building are being mitigated and that actions are being taken to make sure that building is safe for the residents of that building. And then the extension would go through the new process anyway, Gateway 1, Gateway 2, Gateway 3, as we've already covered in other answers here in this sequence. MDT. So we did a seminar in London, and we were talking about the gateways and how the gateways need to bring along, as we're doing gateway reviews through Gateways 2 and Gateway 3, permission to construct, permission to occupy. One of the things that the client will need to do is talk to an authority one of the things that the client will need to do is talk to the relevant authorities involved in approving that project. One of the terms that's being used for that is multidisciplinary team, or MDT. And that multidisciplinary team, MDT, brings forward people from the Health and Safety Executive, HSE as the new building safety regulator, local authority building control as relevant, fire and rescue services, and that they will look and discuss and review what's going on within that particular relevant project. And now there's a question. We're still awaiting the outcome of the consultation on BS 476. If I was a betting man, I'd probably put my money on the fact that 476 is removed from ADB, but we're still awaiting for the government's decision upon that. The second part of the challenge is what government replaces that with, and whether we can do something. The challenge is what government replaces it with. If it's solely linked to the classification standard, or if it's linked to something else. In terms of where we are per se at the moment, If the requirement is for something that is classified in accordance with EN 13501 Part 1, 2, 3, 4, then the role of assessments is very much reduced from where we are today. However, if it's not, if it's based upon use the European test results and conduct an assessment, it's a suggestion in accordance with the guidelines and rules written out in the PFPF guide on conducting these assessments, underpinned by European fire test data, and I added the word European in there, but that's what it would become, there may be a role for assessments in the future. But at the moment it's still a watching brief to wait and find out how government changes things and whether the classification works. Other European member states, for instance the Dutch, have a system where the building regulation calls for classification or something of equivalent safety. And maybe that's the approach that we in the UK should also look to adopt.